live on Facebook. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's webinar, Making LinkedIn Work for You. Our goal here at Albert's List is to help you find your next career opportunity. Tonight's webinar will be hosted by two members of ResMarket, a marketplace of industry professionals designed to help connect you with career coaches. We're joined by Asha, one of the career coaches, and Gabby, the COO and co-founder of ResMarket. And tonight, they will discuss how you can align your LinkedIn profile with your career aspirations. And they will also be looking at your LinkedIn profiles live on this webinar. So definitely get ready for that. So Asha and Gabby, please take it away.
Thank you, Stephanie. We are so excited to be here with you all today. As Stephanie mentioned, my name is Gabby. I am the COO and co-founder of ResMarket. Oh, thank you, Asha. You can go to the next slide. So ResMarket is a marketplace of career development services from all industries, all backgrounds, and all experience levels. And the idea is that we're bringing this to you at an affordable price. Our prices start at just $40 and range up to $90 for career coaching services that you get to choose, right? You're able to choose what works for you in an a la carte kind of fashion. We offer services that job seekers need at prices that they can afford. So we have 5 different types of services. In each of these service sessions, you will get a 45-minute career coaching opportunity with the advisor that you select. We have a career pathing session where we help you determine what makes sense as a next step for your career path. This works really well in the realm that Asha is specialized in, on around transferable skills. If you're looking to make an industry pivot but aren't quite sure how to do that, this could be a great avenue for you to explore. Then we offer resume reviews, cover letter support, interview prep, and our most recent service offering, and very relevant for this event here today, are LinkedIn revisions. To give you an idea of how you can use the platform, you go to resmrkt.com. That's resmarket.com. You can click the Get Started button, and you'll get a list of all of the advisors that we offer in the marketplace. You can view their full profile, select the services that work for you, and then one of the members from the ResMarket team will be in touch about scheduling and getting that session scheduled so that you can get the support you need to continue on your job search. We offer a money back guarantee. So if you're not sure, if you weren't happy with your services, we really know that we've done the work, we've vetted the advisors to make sure that these are people that you can trust. And you'll definitely get that today from hearing what Asha has to say about the LinkedIn profile side of things too. Awesome. And to give you a little bit more into what this looks like, I actually was going to ask Asha, as a ResMarket advisor, I'd love to know what someone can expect in a ResMarket session with you.
That's a great question, Gabby. So when someone signs up for a ResMarket session, they actually fill out a form which explains what they're doing right now and where they want to go, and shares a couple of sample job descriptions. I actually spend about an hour doing research about the person, the career path they're in, and the career path they want to go to. So I can make really good recommendations as far as ways for them to search for similar opportunities or ways to get into the company that they're targeting. And then we'll spend time either going through their career path, the resume, or LinkedIn profile, depending on which package they've purchased through the website.
That is awesome, Asha. And yeah, we've got a great success story here from somebody who actually purchased a session after our last event, where you were really able to recommend and have done the research around a very niche community that she was part of, and make a recommendation for a job that she would be able to apply to, and really start to get the wheels turning for the opportunities that she could be open to as well.
Yep. And I think Katarina came to an Albert's List ResMarket event about 6 months ago and saw what the site was all about, and then reached out and booked a session. And it was so unique because she has this background in agriculture and farming, and I had never met anyone with that type of background. So it was really interesting to me to, do that research, and then to meet her and to give her recommendations that she hadn't considered previously. So that was really exciting. I see Chi just wrote in the chat, do we do resume rewrites? I won't rewrite the resume for you, but I will make recommendations on how you can make the language stronger. And, based on our conversation, I make make recommendations of things you may want to add because you probably have missed some key things that would be relevant for what you're looking for. So we do kind of work on it together. It's a working session.
Exactly. Thank you, Asha. And if you all have any other questions too about the services that we offer, how you can get started with ResMarket, feel free to drop those in the chat. I'll be monitoring that and responding back to you. And again, what we're trying to do here is to change the way the world finds work. We know that these services are typically not accessible to a lot of job seekers, being that they're targeted at people who don't currently have jobs, but can somehow spend so much money on this job search process. So we're really trying to bring that accessibility there. And our whole idea / belief system is that you've already done the hard work of your past experience, your education, whatever past jobs that you've had. And our goal is to really help you highlight that, right? We have our little zebra logo. And the idea is that our zebra just needs a little help to figure out how to show off their stripes. And we believe that the same is true for our job seekers, that everyone can just use a little bit support when they're on the job hunt. So that is what we want to offer for you. So again, please check out resmarket.com. We have 2 really cool promotions happening right now too. One is a discount on a LinkedIn revision session. So if you use the code Albert's List at checkout, and I'll put a link in here too, if you follow this link directly, the promo code will automatically be applied and you'll be able to get a discounted session, $5 off any of the advisors who offer our LinkedIn revisions. We're also doing a contest on Instagram. So if you go to the ResMarket Instagram page, find this image for the ResMarket giveaway, you tag a friend, each friend you tag is a new entry. It's also an entry if you share it to your story. So I'll drop that link in here as well so that you can enter to win a free LinkedIn session. I mean, that would be pretty cool. I know I would want a free LinkedIn session. Hey, also just hanging out with a cool advisor like Asha for 45 minutes. That's not too bad.
It'll change your life.
Exactly. It's really magical. So check out those 2 links for our special promotions. We'll put them back at the end too, so you'll be able to have them. But just to keep that in the back of your mind, feel free to click on it and explore. Amazing. And now it is my honor to introduce the wonderful Asha. So we know Asha as a ResMarket advisor and vice president at Sprinkler. But 6 months ago, she had an author to her list of titles. Asha has written a career development book on how we can use our transferable skills to find career success. She's here to share some real life examples to help you identify and articulate your transferable skills in your LinkedIn profile, right? Helping you build out that personal brand and personal story so that when you're applying to jobs, when you're trying to expand your network, you're telling the right message that helps align with your career goals and your career development. So it is an honor to have Asha here today, and I cannot wait because I'm also excited to learn what you have to say about the LinkedIn and how I can also make some improvements. So without further ado, Asha, over to you.
Thank you, Gabby. Gabby, Stephanie, Albert, thanks so much for having me back here to talk with the different groups that you represent. I'm excited to share what I know about transferable skills and how to improve people's LinkedIn profiles. So our goal today is to help you elevate your LinkedIn presence to help you transition into a new role or potentially start a new venture. As both Gabby and Stephanie mentioned, I published a book called Skills, the Common Denominator about 6 months ago. If you'd like to purchase a copy, it's available on Amazon. The QR code here on the page will take you straight to that Amazon page. The link is also available in the chat. I presented back in December to Albert's List. And so if you'd like to learn more about the stories in the book, I highly recommend going back to that webinar. Gabby's just dropped that link in the chat. And if you just watch the first 20-30 minutes, you'll get a good sense of the stories and the career changes that happen in the book. Basically, I've interviewed 25 people last year about the career changes they made, and many of them made those changes in the pandemic. And they switched careers, they switched countries, they switched roles. And I bucketed those stories into 4 sections: community development, entrepreneurship, marketing, and technology. So it's a wide range. And some of those people made dramatic shifts, like from accounting to brand marketing, from technology consulting to social impact. So you can see that they have many reference points and that you will find stories that you identify with, and more importantly, transferable skills that you have and you can now articulate based on their examples. The second half of the book is what we're going to cover in today's webinar. It's the skills to advance your career. And so I'll get into that into a few minutes. Based on the research that I did in the book, I discovered, we all have key skills: hard skills, soft skills, life skills, job skills. Hard skills are teachable. Soft skills are a little more challenging to teach because they're rooted in our personalities. And so when you look at it from a macro viewpoint, these are all transferable skills, skills that we gain in one context, probably from our previous work experiences, our volunteer activities, if we're a student in our student clubs, and that we use them in a different context. What we need is help to identifying our transferable skills and then articulating them to others. And that's both in person and online. And to start there, it's with your personal brand. You need to establish your reputation. Your reputation is your calling card. It demonstrates your value to others. It shows that you have experience and credibility, and it turns you into a leader in your field. And know that your personal brand changes over time and you can rebrand. And this personal brand can be shared in a number of ways: online, in person through your elevator pitch, online through your LinkedIn profile, which is the focus of today's session, and in person when you attend events. And coming up with an elevator pitch is actually not that simple. You'd think it's just a quick summary of your experience and goals, but you probably stumbled over it once or twice. So it takes preparation and practice to come up with a good elevator pitch, so you have it ready, for example, on in-person events and online events like this one. So to get us started, I have a couple of interactive exercises. We have your pens and paper ready. The first one is, I want you to think about your superpower. Transferable skills are also called superpowers. We all have one or two or three that we use in our day-to-day activities. One of mine is focus. I want you to think about yours and write it down. All right. Now for the next exercise, I want you to think about your elevator pitch. You have 30 seconds to relay who you are, what you want to do, and to answer the question, how may I help you? If you're in sales, recruiting, or teaching, you may want to consider the alternate version, which is who you are, why they should listen to you, and to answer the question, why should I trust you? What you say has to be memorable and it should be specific. That'll help the other person to remember you. Consider the time that you have, the most relevant details for the person you're talking to, and your goal of that interaction as you tailor your elevator pitch. And know that 30 seconds is a long time to relay information about yourself. And so for our next interactive exercise, I want you to take a couple minutes to write down your elevator pitch and put it into the chat. And if you're selected to speak at any point in this event, the first thing I'm going to ask you is your elevator pitch. So please have it ready. Those of you that attended the last webinar may remember this. A lot of people weren't ready when I asked them for it. And so to share my example, hi, I'm Asha. I published my first book on career development. I'm focused on selling 100 books this month. If you are me, how would you do that? That example is 11 seconds. So as you can see, 30 seconds is a very long time to relay information about yourself. And so if you want to start dropping your elevator pitches in the chat, it'll give people a sense of who's in the room today, and also for you to see the range of words they use to describe themselves. All right, I'm going to keep moving on. Next up are digital tools. And so right now, LinkedIn is singularly the most important digital tool that you have at your disposal to showcase your personal brand. And so I cover LinkedIn and also other tools like JobScan, which helps you beat ATS systems, and placement, which helps you keep organizing your job search in the book. I also have a dedicated chapter to your LinkedIn profile that goes through the 5 key sections that you should have. And we're going to talk about those in today's session. Now I'm going to take you through the important components of a LinkedIn profile. First up is the top half of the LinkedIn profile. This is really important for first impressions. You have an introduction, through your photo and the background photo. These are important. Profiles with photos get 20 times more clicks than profiles without. And so if you're showing up in a list of search results, a recruiter or hiring manager may click on your profile because there is a photo. You want to make sure that photo is current. And I'm talking about less than 3 years old. Okay. If you don't have a current photo, ask someone to take a photo with you on the phone and then use that, but make sure it's current. You want to make sure you match the person who shows up in the interview. Your headline is what appears underneath your name, and this defaults to your current company and current title. You can edit this, and this becomes a mini elevator pitch that shows your personality. And we're going to talk through that when we go through the LinkedIn profiles in a little bit. Your location is important, especially if you're relocating. If you're relocating, I recommend that you put the location that you want to be in. So for example, I'm currently in New York, but if I was moving to the Bay Area, I could put it San Francisco Bay Area here. And that way, when recruiters are searching for people in the Bay Area for roles that I qualify for, I'll show up in those searches. And then in the interview, I can have a conversation about how I'm relocating from New York to San Francisco. All right, so this is really important to make sure that this is current and updated. The last piece that I'll highlight is the LinkedIn profile URL. This is the actual web link. You can customize it. And that's important to especially get rid of the alphanumeric characters that are at the end. You can make it your first name, last name, your name and your company if you own the company, or some other thing that makes it unique and to you. And then you use that link on your resume, on your business card, in your email signature. It's another way to show off your personal brand. The about section is where I say it shows your spirit. You get to show off your personality through the narrative that explains who you are and your journey and where you want to go. And so that section is super important to populate. And today we're going to go through some profiles where people haven't filled that out, and I'm going to encourage them to do that. I use the example of the Pixar pitch to have created mine in the past. The Pixar pitch allows you to tell a story of how you got from here to there, explaining the twist in the middle in a way that makes sense to the reader. And that's an example that I use in my book. Also, below the about section is a featured section, and you can use these little pencils to update those sections to include media like articles, videos, press releases, pictures of yourself presenting. And it's another way to show off your personal brand, your personality, and the work that you've done. I mentioned LinkedIn is the most important digital tool that you have. It's because of the search engine optimization of the information on that page. It shows up in search results on the web. So you want to make sure that you fill out all the fields that are available to you, that even when you do things like put your company in, that the company matches the company page that's in LinkedIn and the picture shows up, the icon shows up. That's how you know that you got the right page. And when that happens, for example, if your company goes through a merger or acquisition activity in the future, it'll get updated to that new company's information and you'll become part of that new company's network. So it's really important to have the information current and connected in LinkedIn. Again, you can use a pencil icon to edit all the information that you see here. You can reorder the experiences if you need to, especially if you're working on a couple of things at the same time. You may want to prioritize the full-time experience over a part-time experience. And know that you can put more information on your LinkedIn profile than you do on your resume. With your resume, the trick is about 1 page for every 5 years. Even sometimes you can put 10 years on a 1 page. That's what recruiters prefer. But on your LinkedIn profile, nobody minds scrolling up and down and reading the information. So you could definitely put more information as far as a lot more bullets and experiences on your LinkedIn profile. If you're not sure where to start, LinkedIn has a wizard. It's called Add a Profile Section Wizard to guide you through each section. And so I have a picture of here of what it looks like, but I recommend that you focus on the 5 that I have on the screen. The about section, which we talked about, the work experience, where you list your professional accomplishments and work experience, your education, which is your colleges, and some people have their high school experience, volunteer experiences have their own section, and then accomplishments, which may include honors, awards, publications, and projects that you worked on that don't fit into the other buckets. One of the ways that you can grow your network through LinkedIn is by taking those business cards that are sitting on your desk and making sure that you've added everyone into LinkedIn. That's the best way, and that'll be in service to you. So add your contacts as LinkedIn, from your business cards. When you go to an event, after the event, remember, like, who did I meet? Let me add them right away so they remember you. And then if you need, for example, information from the business card, like the cell phone number, just add that to your phone and then throw away the business card. When you connect with people on LinkedIn, make sure you use the connect button and personalize the request. It's really important to do that so people will remember you. Sometimes when you go to an event and you meet a lot of people, it's hard to remember someone just by name. But if you add a little context, like, hey, we met Monday night at the reception. We talked about grabbing coffee in a couple of weeks to talk about that business development opportunity. I'll follow up with you by email. Then you hit connect. And they'll remember, like, oh, that's right, I met Gabby at that event. We're going to have a conversation. I'm going to look out for her email to schedule that coffee. On your mobile devices, when you click connect, it automatically sends a generic request. You have to take an extra step to personalize it. So I highly recommend using the desktop version of LinkedIn to personalize the request a lot easily. Now, to also grow your network, you want to consider joining LinkedIn groups. In LinkedIn groups, you can meet so many different people from all around the world. And you can search for the groups just by using the keyword search bar at the top of the page, by entering professional terms or even searching by location. And you'll see a whole list of groups show up. And this is great when you want to connect with people who are not in your network, but may know about an area of interest. So in this example on the screen, I put a business intelligence analytics group and a private equity networking group. That's just based on the questions I saw, before this session. People are looking to learn how to network in these particular groups. And you can see they have join buttons, so you can join them, and they have very large communities. One of the secret tricks about joining a group, and I have this picture here on the right side of a group that I'm in, you can message members of the group for free. So for those of you who are asking questions about premium, it's not worth it. And even people at LinkedIn say that, because there's so many ways through and around the system to get to the people you want to get to without having to pay for it. And LinkedIn groups is a really powerful way to do that. So you can join a group, you can network with people in the group, you can send up to 15 messages monthly and to connect with the people in there. So that is a really great way to grow your network. If you're curious about what networks or groups to join right away, you can look for like your school alumni group. Maybe your work has a group, or you can look by your functional area and say, like, do they have a group that I should join? And just start monitoring the conversations, commenting here and there, and joining the conversation when you're ready. Another way to grow your network is by leveraging the school pages. School pages are created based on the information we have in the education section of our profiles. So in these two examples that I have here, one is with De Anza College. I saw a couple of you that registered for tonight's webinar attended there. They have thousands of alumni that have graduated from this college, and 1/3 of those alumni live outside of San Francisco. So if somebody from this college, lived in San Francisco and then moved away, chances are they could find someone who graduated also from the college in their town that they're living in and could reach out and connect. And people like hearing from people that share a commonality of going to school together. The other example with Northwestern, they have, nearly 200,000 alumni all around the world. They also have a business school. And so people could choose to put in their education section, they graduated from the university or they graduated from the business school. It's totally up to them. And what I noticed was 8,000 people who studied business put that they graduated from the university versus the business school. So if you're looking for someone in particular, or you're looking for particular profiles, you may want to poke around between a higher level university and then the colleges within them to make sure that you're finding the people that you need to. So I have an exercise here. If you want to navigate to your school page on LinkedIn, you could filter down to the alumni that live in your city, search then by keyword or what they do in, that's actually a section on the page to your interest area. And then you can see how many alumni are in that interest area that are in your first degree connections. And you'll be surprised. I guarantee you're going to find at least a handful of people that fall into that, fit the criteria of what you're looking for, where you live. And those could be people that you reach out with through the school group to have conversations and to network and to find more information about what you're interested in. All right. So to keep us moving, I'm just going to highlight business networking. So we've already talked about networking is, something that you need to focus time and energy on. It is difficult. It's not easy. It takes practice, especially if you're introverted or shy, but you can break it down into manageable pieces that you can survive at a networking event and get to meet people that you need to. And so I cover in the book 8 proven techniques to grow your professional network, everything from attending events like tonight with speakers, listening to podcasts or creating your own, going for volunteer activities to build your credibility, scheduling informational chats to then secure referrals for jobs, and then building your own community like Albert did here today with Albert's List to cultivate people who have similar interests and want to help each other. So to wrap up the first part of this presentation about the book, I highly recommend, picking up a copy. I always tell everyone start with the last chapter, the conclusion, which lists the 42 transferable skills that I believe are needed in today's job market. And then the chapter right before that is the guide to your LinkedIn profile. And it goes into detail with examples, my own examples that I've used in my career and my LinkedIn profile, to how you should update yours. And that way you can go through it, page by page and update yours along the way too. And then if you like today's presentation, or if you read the book and you enjoy it, please put an Amazon book review. That's really important to helping other people discover what's in there and to help them improve where they are in their career journey. All right, Gabby, we're ready for the interactive session.
Amazing. It looks like other Gabby, not me, who is our first person, is not yet here. So we're going to start with Eileen. So Eileen, I'm going to promote you to be a panelist.
Do you have a few slides to get through? So let me go through that first, and then we'll go to Eileen, okay?
Got it.
All right. So here, just on logistics, if you've been pre-selected, Gabby did send an email yesterday to the audience members that we pre-selected. If you're in the room and haven't connected with her, please do via the chat so she can tell you when to come off mute and to turn on your video. Again, I mentioned I'm going to ask you to share your elevator pitch, so please have that ready. And you're going to hear feedback on your pitch and your LinkedIn profile. I do want to highlight, of the people that applied for the interactive portion of today's session, 26% of you mistyped or entered the wrong information in the question about your LinkedIn profile. It's very concerning because we asked a very simple question. What is your LinkedIn profile? And so here on the next page, I actually am showing you a picture of what this looks like on a job application. On a job application, they ask you to enter your LinkedIn profile. When they do that, you want to enter the full URL, all the way from the HTTPS down to the customized portion that's yours. And I'm going to just highlight 3 errors that I saw. The H has to be lowercase. If it's not lowercase, it appends another HTTPS to the URL when somebody clicks on it, which means they're not getting to your LinkedIn page. Some of you forgot the IN that's in between the .com and your customized portion of the URL. That also is a failed URL. And the last one I noticed, somebody forgot the .com and the IN. If I was a recruiter, I would skip over your application because I couldn't click on your LinkedIn profile. You do not want to disqualify yourself from a job application because you filled it out incorrectly. So please, please, please copy and paste the URL from the top of the page and use that into your job applications and anywhere else that it asks for your LinkedIn profile. All right. Gabby, I do want to go through these strong LinkedIn profiles if I can before we go into.
Absolutely.
Okay. So going through the people who had applied for the LinkedIn profile review, I did find some great examples of strong LinkedIn profiles that I want to highlight. So Tammy, Ramona, Priyanka, and Jamie, they all had great LinkedIn profiles because their photo appeared. They had a background photo. They had an informative headline. They had populated the about section. Their experience was detailed as far as the information that it contained. It wasn't just the name and title, but they had bullet points explaining what they did. Their education section was also detailed. They included things like student clubs they participated in and other student activities. They had volunteer activities and they filled that section out. And then finally, they had other accomplishments, like maybe they won an award at work or at school. Maybe they published something. And that was another section, or they took a course. They listed a certification or course that they had. So I was really impressed to see that. And so I think these are really good examples for everyone to model their own off of. And we can pull these up in a little bit, depending on how we are on time. Okay, so now let me stop presenting this and let's go to Eileen.
Yeah, so Eileen, if you want to come off mute, come on video, be able to chat with Asha about your LinkedIn.
Oh, I can't start my video. It says can't start video.
Oh, no. All right. Well, I'll work on that in the meantime.
That's all right.
All right. Stephanie, tell me about yourself.
Oh, let's see. I'm a finance professional that help companies solve customer pain points by listening to their voices. I am results driven with a strong bias for action.
Awesome. So you're like ready to go out there and start working, because I see here that you're re-entering the workforce.
Yes, I am trying to.
Okay. No, that's awesome. I think that's great. And I think just to put it out there helps explain any gaps that someone may see here and the experience section.
Yeah,
so I really like that.
I've worked a lot on, I've revised it so many times because there were so many suggestions about the gap.
Mm-hmm.
And I even played with the new LinkedIn feature, and pretty much every single recruiter hated it. So
okay.
yeah. And then the conclusion was to frame, because I had a part-time job for almost 3 years, actually 2.5 years. And then most recently I temped at Northwestern.
I see that.
But the problem was, because those two positions were my most recent positions, people were focused on that. And they were like, oh, because the technical titles were, one was accounting, technical and accounting assistant, and the other one was accounting assistant. So the immediate focus was on the word assistant.
Got it.
And so that wasn't my intent. The crux of my career was in commercial lending. So,
okay.
So then someone suggested that maybe I kind of incorporate it as more consulting, so then they can see that I wasn't sitting at home eating bonbons all day.
Right.
And I was actually a productive person. I mean, trust me, being at home with your kid is productive.
It's a full-time job, right? And so no, I know I like this. I think I like the way that you handled that part here by putting the temporary positions together. And then you even highlighted that you were volunteering during that time as well. So someone could see in a consolidated view what you've been doing for the last 14 years, right? And then down here, your education is up to date. Your licenses and certifications are current, right? You just did one in December. I think that's really great. And then you started getting some skills. You could also list these volunteer activities in the volunteer section.
Yeah, I thought about that. See, because I wanted to show that, because I mean, my break is long.
Yes.
And so because it's so long, I wanted to show what I was actually doing during that time, because.
And I think that's fine. I think you can put it in both places. And so I know we have to wrap and go to the next person, but I think you can like just take advantage of all the sections that you have, and don't worry about being redundant. Because for example, I'm only seeing this because I clicked more. If I didn't click more, I wouldn't see the volunteer activities. I would see them.
That makes sense.
Right. But I would see, if you have them in its own section, that you've been doing those volunteer activities for, let's say, 5-10 years, right? That itself shows loyalty to an organization, which is a prized asset for anyone that wants to hire you.
Got it.
As a skill, right? So I think that would be a good way to show that you are, even though you were temping and doing these temporary positions, you did have consistency in your volunteer.
Okay, that makes sense. I just didn't want to be too redundant. And so
That's totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then quick question. So how much of your resume, where's the balance between what you actually accomplished, where people look at your LinkedIn and be like, oh, I want to learn more, versus putting it, because, you know, everybody was like, oh, you want to whet people's appetite and kind of pique their curiosity to talk to you. But then you also, I feel like you kind of have to highlight your impact too.
Yep. And that's where like the about section helps you do that in a way that the resume doesn't.
Okay, got it.
You can just add more information there. And then also if you have like, maybe you organize something and there are pictures of that, or you have pictures of presentations you gave in the past, you can add that in the featured section. All right.
Got it.
All right.
Okay.
Good luck, Eileen. Let's go to
Thank
the
you.
next person.
Awesome. So we've got Busy. Is that how I pronounce it? You're welcome to come off mute, and we'd love to be able to talk to you about your LinkedIn.
Okay.
Hi.
Is
Hello.
this you here? Hello.
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh my goodness.
All right. Do you want to tell me your LinkedIn, your elevator pitch?
Yeah, I typed one on the chat because I'm just updating my LinkedIn, so to speak. So, and I stopped because I wanted to come and attend this program. And
Sure.
I also found it difficult. I found it difficult to upload my previous works, videos, audios, and some other things, which one of the reasons I had actually attended this program. Allah.
Okay. So I think here, looking, so you got a great photo. You can see here your background photo is cut off. So you may want to reposition that or put a better photo there so we can, so we can see what's going on here. And looking at your profile, it looks like you're studying as a PhD student. So you probably teach classes, right? You're a lecturer. You may want to put a picture of you in a classroom so people see that and they're like, oh, okay, Busy's a teacher. I understand what she does. You don't have an about section. So I'd recommend adding an about section that explains how you went from being a journalist to being a student and what your intentions are after you graduate. So people understand where you want to go and if they can help you. And then
Please,
here,
can you come again? Your voice was a bit cracking.
sure. So I was
But
saying you
now
should add,
I'm listening. I can hear you very well now.
you want to add the about section.
Yeah,
And the
okay.
about section, you want to explain how you went from being a journalist, which you did for a very long time, right? And you
Yeah.
still are doing, to
Yeah.
how, why you decided to go back to school and study.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
that the about section can do that. And then you may want to add a little more description in here. For example, it says you're a lecturer in the Department of Mass, but what do you actually lecture on? What level of student?
Broadcast journalism.
Right. So you just want to add that into the description.
Okay.
So it's more clear. Same thing with like Voice of Nigerian. What type of news topics are you covering? So just give a little more information.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. It makes sense.
And then as a student here, so for example, this is not linked to the school. So you want to make sure that the school, so you see how this is linked to McGill?
Yeah.
You want to make sure this is linked to the university in Malaysia so that the logo shows up and then you in the school's network. So you can use the school page, as I mentioned earlier, to network with other students who may also be like you in Canada and after they graduated and maybe working in places that you want to work.
Yeah.
All right. And then same thing, I'm sure you're volunteering, I'm guessing.
Yes. Yes.
And you want to use that volunteer section to add some information.
Where's that section?
And I'm sure you're mentioning videos. You have videos of yourself doing journal, the broadcast news,
Yes,
just
I
like,
have a lot of videos and I've been trying to upload and I have audio
yep.
broadcast works too.
So just, make like 1 minute videos, short. Right. And then you can upload it here and you can upload it in the featured section or inside these experiences. You can add media as well.
Okay.
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 All right. All right, Busy. Thank you so much. We're going to go on to Sarah.
You. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi there.
Hi, Sarah. Nice to meet you. You want to share your pitch with me?
Yeah, I'm Sarah Bliss, and I am a customer experience professional who recently pivoted to tech and the startup world last year after years of running my own business as a doula and postpartum consultant. I'm currently seeking a role with a mission-driven company, and empathy is my superpower. So I'm really passionate about leveraging that to create the best possible experience for users. And I'd like to find a role in either customer experience or customer success.
I love that. Empathy is my superpower. That's your headline,
Yay, thank you.
right? I mean, because that, especially when you're looking for a CX or CS role, like you mentioned, that's
Mhm.
super important for the customer interaction. Okay. So, you could update your headline like, my superpower is empathy, and seeking roles in customer experience to use my superpower of empathy.
That's really good.
Right. So that's one. And then I love that you are using this section about my next job, and you have the information here of what you're looking for as far as titles.
Right.
This is a feature that LinkedIn offers to job searchers. And so recruiters can see this and they can say like, oh, I know exactly what Sarah's looking for. I know she's really interested in a full-time role with medical insurance, and she's not interested in shift work by what she's written here. And so then they can message her if she comes up in a search. In your about section, I liked it because you explained how you were a doula for a very long time. You helped build this, this project. You know social media and digital. So going into tech isn't completely, like something that's foreign to you.
Right.
And that you're focused on customer experience. And you have the leveraging empathy here, but I think like really lean into that.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I bet you have pictures of yourself presenting in these volunteer groups.
I don't have great pictures, but I have like grainy ones. I guess I could like make one.
You could make one, or you can make a collage of some, right?
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
together will give a sense. And then you can add that to the featured section of your profile. So you could have another section here.
Okay, great.
And then for this Zero Grocery, are you enjoying the experience you're having now at Zero Grocery?
Well, unfortunately, our company folded at the beginning of the month.
Okay, sorry to hear that.
So I was enjoying it until I wasn't.
Okay, but that's fine. But what you may want to do is small things like to add media in this section. You could link to their Crunchbase profile.
Okay.
I have information because if you're like, I didn't know what Zero Grocery is, I could be like, oh, let me go to Crunchbase. I could see if they were venture backed or not, how many employees they had, things like that. That helps cut the conversation of like, where were you working? Right. So that's a good idea. And then here, you did put your website here, which is awesome. So you did have the media here. You just maybe want to fix the thumbnail so it shows up. Okay. And then here you have another role for 10 years where you're explaining what you did, and you put it all in business terms, right? Project management, organization, even child development, right? You can even put like the ages so people know like what you're doing with really young kids or teenagers.
Right.
So that's good. Your education is filled out. You've got your activities here. This is awesome. Here we go. We got a lot of volunteering experience. You could even, these have descriptions, and you can add a little more information. Like if you had a leadership role, if you coordinated events, you coordinated other volunteers, just to show the range of your skill.
Right.
You've got some recommendations, which is awesome. So people can get a good sense of you, and you've got courses. And so these are courses that you've taken offline, but you've entered the information here, which is great. And you can also do the same with online courses if you take any. So yeah, this is even got the causes section filled out. So really, Sarah, I think you did a really good job with this. And I like that you're pivoting from one, you're making a dramatic shift. And so this is great. I think you're in a really good place.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your help. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, Gabby, who's next?
Awesome. Well, we actually have gone through our list. So if anyone is interested in stepping up to be a panelist, you can raise your hand and send in your LinkedIn profile, and we can go through that. Actually, just saw a hand. Awesome. Cool. So I see Steve raised his hand. I'm going to promote you to be a panelist. And please, send us your LinkedIn. And after that, we're going to have Anita.
Okay. I just need Steve's LinkedIn URL.
Perfect. Cool.
Do you have that, or do you need me to drop it in the chat?
I need you to drop it in the chat, please.
Okay. Yeah, I provided it in the sign up, but let me grab it real quick here.
in the meantime, see while you get that pulled up. Oh, you got it? Oh, there it is.
All right. Okay, Steve, so you got great photo, but you're missing a background photo. So I see that you're working for the city and that you graduated from Presidio. I bet there's some really nice skyline photos or landscape photos that you could use as your background photo here.
Yep.
And then your headline is strong. You've got really good descriptors. You're everything from a director focusing on sustainability to being a lecturer. So that's great. Your about section has bullets. You may want to consider turning this into a narrative so it reads a little bit more story-like versus like a resume with bullets.
Okay.
And let's see. The hashtags you have here. So if you turn your profile into a creator profile, that's where you can put the hashtags up top. And then people know what you specialize in. There is a limit of 5 though, if you do that. Now here, let's see your experience.
Are you recommending to remove, just to be clear, those hashtags from the about section?
Well, there you have a choice. You can leave them here because then they're searchable on your profile, or you could turn your profile into a creator profile and add them up here into the headline area.
And what's the, I'm not familiar with what a creator profile is. What's the pro and con of doing that?
It's just, LinkedIn gives you that added functionality of saying like, I specialize in these topics. And then when they roll out new features for creators, like they'll push them to you first. So it just depends on what you're looking to do with LinkedIn. Like if you wanted to host like LinkedIn Lives or the LinkedIn audio, things like that, that's what they are pushing to creators.
Okay. Okay.
Now here in the experience section, so it looks like you've been at the city for a long time and you've probably had progressive roles.
Yep.
So you
believe it or not, I still have the same title I did from 14 years ago, and I won't go into all that, but I have grown the program from basically the ground up through to a program that has a team of about 5 people and multi-million dollars in programming and budget.
Awesome. So you could even just say in the description, like increased responsibility or like had progressive responsibility in the area of sustainability for the city of Mountain View. Right. Because otherwise, because I'm seeing this, as like, has he been in this role for 14 years or is this his current role? I'll question that. Right. And so you could cut that off and be like, no, I've had progressive responsibility, even though like the title has stayed the same. And so I think it's great that you have media here. And then prior to that, you have some consulting. So and get to these, if these organizations have LinkedIn pages, you could connect to it.
Okay.
You got this all filled out. Yeah, you have a lot of detail here. So this is a good example of how you can put a lot more detail on your LinkedIn profile versus your resume. For example, maybe for this experience on your resume, maybe you wouldn't have like all these bullets. You may have a couple. And so this is a good way to balance the information.
Is there a rule, Asha, in terms of, I've got experience, I'm, kind of a more mid to senior level person. I'm in my mid 50s. Is there a rule like you don't need to show experience past this, like the ones you're looking at right there, Dublin Group and Roll-Up? You can see those are like from the 90s. Do you recommend I just kind of pull those off so that doesn't also accelerate any age discrimination or?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it all depends on what you want to do next. And so if they're relevant to what you want to do next, you can leave them on. If they're not relevant, let's say you want to go be a chef next, then none of this is relevant, right? But you want to show that you were actually like, I was busy and I was working for the last 25, 30 years. This is what I was doing. You could leave it on, but you could take out the descriptions. So it really just shows like, here's the years and the places that I worked. So people get a sense of like, okay, he's worked as a consultant, he's worked as an employee, he's done training, he's done facilitation, he's a lecturer, he's a consultant, right? And you can get the range, which they can do just based on the title and the organization. So you really just got to think about what is the next move and what you want to represent from your brand. Because I talked about like, if you wanted to rebrand, you're able to do that with the information that you have and you present about yourself. For example, even with education, you only have your M.B.A. listed. And so in the same way that you only have the M.B.A. listed, you could decide to remove several of the experiences if they don't fit what the next role is going to be.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, you got licenses. That's great. Skills is filled out. Recommendations, publications. That's awesome. This is something that I mentioned earlier. This is part of the accomplishment section, and so is projects. So if you have anything that you've published, you can put it here with the link. Same thing with the projects, languages. Awesome. You don't have volunteer things, and I'm sure you're volunteering.
Honestly, not as much these days.
Okay. And that's fair. If you have something even in the past, I mean, you have stuff like 2015 present, you could fill it in, or you can leave it out. I mean, you have a lot of sections filled out. And I think you have a strong profile, which is why I didn't pick it from the batch when it was submitted.
I
All right. Thanks, Steve.
appreciate that, Asha. Thank you.
All right. Anita, how about you come off mute and tell me your elevator pitch?
Hi, my name is Anita Yip, and I spent the past 15 years managing people and projects for social impact in a variety of industries, from the nonprofit sector to the healthcare technology. My superpower is being able to execute by understanding the what and the how. I currently aspire to be a technical product manager where I can focus more about the what and the why.
That was awesome. Did you practice that before today?
No.
That was really good. It was really concise. It was a little fast, so you can slow down. Remember, you've got like 30 seconds is a long time. So we can definitely slow that down. And so here you've got the photo, you've got the background photo, which is intriguing. You've got a great headline, but you said you want to do technical program management?
Or product manager, yeah, somewhere in that area.
Okay, so maybe purpose-driven product manager to replace all of this, right? And just be straightforward. And especially if, are you working right now? So you're working right now in a product support role and you want to go into a product management role.
Correct.
So you could, let's look at, let me read your about section quickly. So I think, feel free to reach out if you want to chat. Should be a little more specific, or even just connect it to the next sentence, right? Like, feel free if you want to chat about the future of work, blah, blah, blah. Or in this case, you're looking specifically for product management roles. Reach out if you have expertise in product management. I'd love to learn from you, right?
Okay, yeah.
Your featured's good. You've got some content there. How about at work? Are there any like case studies from the work that you've done or any awards that your team has won that you could highlight here?
The things that I've done are more an incident response and things that are not relevant to where I want to go. And so the reason why I'll just offer this to others, doesn't work for everyone, is that I don't put my job responsibilities or my accomplishments here because recruiters would tell me or would send jobs for things that I don't necessarily want. And even after taking all this stuff out, I actually get more recruiters contacting me, some about technical support, but some about other things. So I thought it was interesting when I took it out as an experiment.
Yeah, and so that's a good point about the SEO. So you start dropping words like product management in your headline, in your about section, what starts happening? You start getting those roles.
Correct.
So you got to add those. That's why it's so critical to add the words into the profile so they're searchable. And to write it in a way that's authentic and that you're seeking that role or you're looking to learn more about the role, but at least the role is on the page, the same way that your current roles are right now. Okay, so that's why you've taken out the descriptions for all these experiences because they're not related to what you want to do, right? But I bet there are skills from your previous roles, like project management, people management, that are transferable to product management that you may want to highlight. So consider that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then your education, looks like you are doing a BS right now in comp sci.
Correct.
Okay. Wow. So that's great. So you could, even in your about section, you want to mention that you're like currently, like you went back to school and why you're doing that, right? And that you're doing it part-time. So people don't, so otherwise people are gonna think like, is she graduating next year or is she available to work right now?
Yes.
You want to kind of like reduce the confusion. And let's see. So you got a lot of education listed. So, okay. So these are just courses you've taken over time. So know that when people search, for example, on the school pages, only these, you show up in the first 3 school networks. Beyond that, you won't show up in those networks. So if it's really important, for example, if you're like, I want to be connected to all the people in the Boston Latin School, I want to make sure that we find each other on LinkedIn, it has to be one of these top 3.
Yep.
Okay. And let's see. You've been taking some classes. Well, yeah, it's been a year because you started your program at Western Governors. You got volunteering. This is really good and it's current. So you got product owner, right? I haven't seen the word product manager here once. So I think just like looking at those job descriptions and looking for the keywords and adding them will be important. You got recommendations. You got some more projects here. So this is a school project. And you won best marketing. Okay. So that's an award. You got that filled. Yeah, you've got a lot of the sections filled out, which is great. It's just, you want to make sure that it's all serving you for the role that you want next.
Correct.
All right, cool. Thanks, Anita. Let's go to the next person. Is that Nancy?
Thank you. That is. And thanks, Anita. We appreciate it.
Hi, Asha.
Hi, Nancy. Let's hear your elevator pitch.
Yes, so I'm a bilingual customer success manager with 6+ years of experience in customer-facing roles at startup environments. I am passionate about building strong relationships, embracing teamwork, working cross-functionally, and leading with empathy. I'm currently looking for a customer success manager role in SaaS and e-commerce.
Nice. So I'm just looking through here. So I can like guess you're bilingual because you studied in Mexico, but you're in San Francisco, right?
Yes.
But I don't see that in here. And I know that a lot of these SaaS companies are looking for bilingual speakers, especially because they have customers in Latin America and Spain.
Yeah.
You can use your about section to explain like you are business proficient in 2 languages.
Okay.
Okay. Which I have to tell you is still very difficult to find in the market. So here, this is good. What do I enjoy? So, we talked about the where you want to go, right? So you can use the about section to say like, I'm really interested in deepening my experience in customer success of multinational customers in SaaS.
Okay.
Just kind of put it out there. Doesn't mean you're searching. It doesn't mean you're not searching. It's just like, that's what you're interested in, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then here, this is great. I love how you use the media to like explain like what is Novi and the company. And you're talking about like, wow, you've got 200 accounts. That quantification is really good. So people understand like you are able to, you can handle a very large volume.
Volume. Yeah. Perfect.
Right. So that's good. And then here, 40 travel partners, 29 travel partners. I think that's awesome. You have the bank, you're doing audits of 10 projects. This is a very good, like business focused resume. You could, since this internship was in college, you could remove it.
Okay.
It's not relevant anymore. People, especially in the US, they want to focus on like from with the time you graduated, that professional experience. Okay.
Perfect.
And then let's see. You got licenses and certifications. That's good. You're volunteering and this is active. You're doing the TED circles right now.
No, it was until, I need to update that. It was until last year.
So you want to update that.
Yeah.
If you can like find if TED circles has a page, you just want to connect it to that page.
Okay.
And you've got recommendations, you've got courses. So these courses, you could also, okay, certification is different. Yes. Okay. So you have it correct. You may just want to put like, if there's a date or anything there.
Okay.
Languages, you have native or bilingual, that's good. We just want to like write it above because they may not scroll all the way to the bottom.
Perfect. Yeah.
And then you have this organization listed twice. So you have like yourself as the project director under here, and then you have project director here. This is a volunteer experience.
Yeah, it was volunteer.
Okay. So you just want to leave it here under volunteer. You can remove it from organization.
Okay.
And I noticed this, and I'll say this in general, just from the profiles that I reviewed before the call. Think of an organization as one where you are paying a fee to be a member versus a volunteer where you're volunteering your time to be a member or to have a leadership role. So that's the way to distinguish organization versus volunteer on the LinkedIn profile. And we have causes. No, this is great. I think you have a strong profile, and then you just start dropping these keywords in. And if you position yourself as a CSM for the LATAM market, the opportunities will come.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Asha.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
So next step, we've got Michelle.
All right.
Hi, can you hear me?
Michelle, yes, we can hear you. You want to share your pitch with me?
Sure. Okay. Hi, I'm Michelle Miller, and after 20 years of HR experience in other industries, I am leveraging my skills and experience at a nonprofit, helping disabled individuals in their job search. I have a goal set to assist and place 2 of the individuals in our small client group with their optimal job match. A longer term goal I have is actually a career pivot into talent acquisition. My superpowers are listening and attention to detail. I've become the glue in my current organization and expanded beyond my HR role into the client services, and actually am doing operations as well for our small nonprofit.
Okay. So you're kind of playing like Jill of all trades in this role.
Yes, it's actually where I thrive most, is wearing the multiple hats.
Okay.
I really am a connector of people, communicator, and I just want to pivot myself after a long career in HR more to talent management or program management with talent acquisition or talent development.
And right now, talent acquisition is like one of the hottest jobs right now. Everybody's hiring.
It
And
is.
what they all need are talent acquisition operations people
Yeah.
to make sure that people are moving through the pipelines and the rest of the company understands what the processes are. So you're in a really good spot for what you want to do.
I feel that's accurate. And half of my HR jobs, I always did recruiting, and I mean that was a lot of it was 50% of my job. I feel
Okay.
that my current LinkedIn and resume I'm working on, it doesn't really showcase some of that, and I've got to pull it out. So while I'm helping people, I'm also, here to help myself too.
Right. And the thing is, like, it's
Yeah.
just about taking that, like take an hour to do that, right? Because I'm here, like,
Yeah.
I pointed this out in the beginning. So I can't see your photo, maybe because we're 3rd degree connections, but there are settings for that. You want to make sure your photo's there. You've got a background photo. You want to update your headline, right? To say like,
Yeah.
that you're interested in talent acquisition roles, because again, this is one of the hottest markets for that. We saw earlier how Sarah used the open to work. So you can use the open to work, then have that section here that appears that says like the titles you're looking for.
Okay.
Within
Yeah.
talent acquisition, to show that you're specifically interested in the operation side of it. Your about section, talks about your HR BP work, and then down here in tiny little letters, is talent
Tiny.
acquisition. So again, the way you just brought together your story for me, write that in the about section.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
You're an accomplished HR professional who's interested in laser beam focusing on talent acquisition and supporting that function for growing organizations.
Perfect. Yeah. And I just, I realized I should have turned my settings back on before the meeting. I had switched my email because my longtime email was just getting too spammy. And I think I turned stuff off while I was transitioning, because I do have a photo and stuff. So I'll have to do that. Yeah.
And this is good just to see, like, we're not connected at all. And this is how I'm seeing your profile. Imagine a recruiter. Right?
Exactly.
Okay. And so then here, all these descriptions, I think you just want to, again, focus on the recruiting aspect of everything that you did. I mean, this is good that you're talking about, working with the CEO and the management team, but you want to talk about the recruitment aspects just to make sure that people are like, yep, check, check, check. She's done this for years and she can do it now in the company. Everything else looks great. You've got current certifications in HR, you're volunteering with the right organizations. You may just want to flip these 2, because this Bay Area HR.
Oh, the BARC group. Yeah.
You can move it up and down. So you just want to move that one up. You've got recommendations. That's awesome. Yeah, I know you've got all the right things in here and you've done the work. So you know that you have the experience. You just got to represent it properly on this page.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Great.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Gabby, anybody else?
Anyone else? If you want, please raise your hand. We still have time for 2 or 3 more panelists. Make
So
sure that
Sheila-
you are, ooh, nice, we got a bunch. Make sure you're gonna be able to speak because we want you to be able to interact with Asha.
Sheila, do you want to come off mute and share your pitch?
Sheila, you should be allowed to talk now.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was going to ask you about that, if you could unmute me.
Awesome.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, so perfect. So I'm Sheila Torrico. I'm a data professional, and I finally, found out what was going to be my niche, which meant that I actually ended up part now of a data strategy group within my current company.
Okay.
And actually, my passion is to solve problems that are related to data for my clients. And I think, my superpower is actually the fact that I'm big business and tech, and I get those two different but similar groups together towards defining what is going to be their success within a project.
Awesome. So you're able to like pivot between those two groups to connect the dots.
Like I'm a happy player.
Very nice. And so you have this like progressive experience that's brought you into this data role, it looks like, and that you're bringing it all together. Did I interpret that correctly?
Can you actually repeat that, Asha? Couldn't
Yeah.
hear you well.
Sure. I was saying that you have this progressive experience in your career that you're now bringing together in your current role around data and analytics.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So if I read your about section, let's see. So here you actually are sharing your Gmail with people to be like, hey, if there's some way I can help you, reach out to me. That's awesome. And then you highlight your career journey. Again, you may want to consider, maybe put this into a narrative. So, because you have bullets throughout the rest of the page and just makes it a little easier to read.
Okay.
You've got the tools here. So somebody searching for those specific tools, you can, they'll find you, through the search. That's good too. And then your experience, let's see how long these. So good. So it's like enough information that people get a good sense of what you've been working on, how many people you've worked with, the functional areas you're working with, so that they know what you're capable of. And if I just come here and search, and you've got some really nice, companies that you've worked in. And so you want to just go back and check some of these to see if they now have a LinkedIn page that you can connect to. Okay. So that we have the logos going down the whole page versus like a mix of logos and no logos. Then if I scroll down on your education section, so you got an example of one of the projects you worked on. That's really good. You have your portfolio here. That's really good. So what I was mentioning before with Anita, you want to put these in the order where the top 3 are the most important for the networking.
Okay.
Okay. So for example, I don't know if Springboard has a school page. It doesn't. It has a company page. That's actually what came up. You may want to move up, for example, like Stanford to be in their network, ESA to put in their network, and Polytech to be in their network, as the top 3, and then everything else is underneath that.
Okay.
So you show up on the school pages, not only for people that you're looking for, but for people looking for someone like you. You want to show up in the search results. We got the LinkedIn, okay, volunteering. It looks like you just check again for these organizations to see if they're there. Are you still volunteering with DataCon?
Yes.
Okay, so you just want to flip the order so that DataCon is first because it's more current versus the other one is, it was about 8 years ago.
Okay.
You got some recommendations. You have one publication here. This is for when you were in school. Courses and then projects. Do you have any current volunteering, I guess any additional, or these 2 volunteering activities that are under organizations?
Yes, those are volunteering. I belong to them, and when they need it, I will step up and say, hey, do you need any help? And let me just go and be like a commenter for some of the activities or meetings they do.
So then I would move that under volunteering.
Okay.
Okay, so like this Bay Area Girl Geek Dinner, and it also shows again that you've been volunteering at this place for almost 10 years. which is really good. Yeah, but you have a strong profile. I think you've filled out all the right things. You have a media, you have a, about section that says, not only, doing work, but you're open to helping people outside of work, which is really good. So
yes, I think my main, question there is, if you see, through my experience, right, I have that progression, but the progression is not clear into data, because I was like a project manager, and then I did some, it's like more into the consulting. And my question is, how can I declare, right, that I finally am like, I decided what I want to focus on, and it is data.
I mean, your title, Senior Data Evangelist for Analytics and AI Initiatives, kind of says that. You don't think that people see that?
Yeah, should I put it more into, after what is my picture on that side?
Yeah, I mean, here even like you could, instead of saying tech, just say like data scientist. Right? Like own the title, own the credibility that you've built, right? And this is part of your rebrand to be that leader, right? And so I think, instead of it being in parentheses, it should be like the first thing.
Like basically saying data strategist.
Yeah, or whatever terminology you're comfortable with that you want people to be like, oh yeah, Sheila, data strategist. What do you want that? Remember, you have to be memorable.
Yes.
So you want to make sure that it's memorable. All right, we have to move on to the next person. Thank you, Sheila. All right, is Helen next, Gabby?
You betcha.
Okay. Helen, let's hear your elevator pitch.
Hey, Helen, it looks like you're still on mute.
Yeah, I was trying to unmute, but it was, yeah.
We understand. Yep.
Exactly. And now, of course, my little notes on the side are gone. So I'll wing it. I'm Helen Shaughnessy, and I am a product marketer that focuses on B2B SaaS companies. I translate product features into the values they actually have for customers, and the problems that they solve for them.
You're a storyteller, right?
Yes, at times I'm a storyteller. A lot of there's a lot of translation involved.
Yeah, no, there is. And so, I mean, product marketing is another really hot role right now, especially in B2B SaaS. So are you looking to go full time, or you want to stay consulting?
I am looking to go full time.
Okay. I would just put it out there then, right? Because it's not clear to me from hearing your pitch and then reading your LinkedIn profile.
Mm-hmm.
So product marketing leader for B2B, I mean, looking, you can say like actively looking for full-time role, or you could use that open to work symbol and use that box that we saw earlier to say, like, here are the roles that I'm looking for. So you come up and searches, because there are so many product marketing roles open right now.
There are a ton. And a lot of people have been reaching out to me. So I know that this profile is somewhat effective.
Yeah. No, right. Because they're seeing product, because the search words are right there, right? Yeah. On product marketing. And then given your experience, do you want to be running the product marketing function, or are you okay working like under someone else?
Either would be fine. It would still be like I can work under someone else, but there should be people under me too. Or
okay. So yeah,
there should be lower. There are lower level people to me, but I will balance between being a leader and an individual contributor.
Okay. So, right. And you can put that all into the about section, so people know that, because there are some product marketer roles that are IC. And if you're okay with that, then they're like, great, because some people aren't okay with that. Yeah. Right. Especially when they have this much experience. And so if you're okay with it, I think that definitely puts you in a better position for more roles.
Okay. That's a good point.
Yeah. And then, you have one example here with Symphony, but I'm sure there are others that you could add, whether it be the websites or collateral that you created, just to show the range of the work that you've done in product marketing.
Yeah, I have two things listed in the section above.
In the featured?
The featured.
Yeah. So you're the
And-
same one twice, right? Symphony's
So
here
I think it's the
twice.
same one twice. And then actually the other one is probably associated with the company below. Yeah.
Here. So they're both from
No.
your, here, search metrics. Oh, sorry,
There's
you have
search
it
metrics
twice.
down here.
Okay.
Well, part of it was because I actually did contract work with search metrics, but I think I need to pull that out because I think that's confusing for people.
Agreed. I think just drop it in here, and then if no one's going to get to that level of detail, like when did you exactly stop with search metrics?
Yeah.
When did you do this? That doesn't make sense. They're not going to figure it out. So I would just combine it and to keep it clean.
Mhm.
And then let's see. This 2-year period of self-employment, was this also when you had reconstruct or different?
Reconstruct didn't exist, but it's more or less the same thing.
I would just combine it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I did that, people got confused because then the dates go from 2013 to now and overlap a time period when I actually had a full-time job. So they get confused.
Oh, wow. That's not very
And
smart
then-
of them.
Yeah. And then the other question I would have is at the, is the first section too big?
Or reconstruct.
Because for reconstruct, because in some ways people look at that and think it's, I don't want to say bigger than it is, because that's not correct. Like I did all that work.
But it is
But-
big, just like text, but optically it's bigger than it is. I think you answered your own question, right?
Okay.
So the optics, like it has to balance, right? If this is 2 years of work and this is 4 years of work, should that be bigger or smaller?
Got it.
Another way
Yeah.
to consider it. Okay.
So I can
Um,
also, the other thing I can do is add more into the search metrics one so that it's bigger.
Right. And the search metrics one is one where that's a direct correlation to the role that you want, right? So from a credibility,
yeah.
right? So it's from a credibility perspective, dump everything you can in there because they're going to be like, we want her to do exactly what she did in search metrics and more. And that'll make sense to people when they're explaining it within the company for a referral. And I'm getting the wrap up signal here from Stephanie, but I'm happy to see another MIT alum on the call. Thank you for joining. All right. I think we should wrap because I know we have a ton of things to go through on our recap, Gabby.
Absolutely.
Hop back to our
I'm
slides
sorry
here.
for Carolyn and Sadiska, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Please do reach out. We're happy to still answer. If you have any other questions, make sure to drop them in the chat and we'll do our best to get to them towards the end. Again, don't forget to fill out our survey as well. And Asha, back to you.
All right. So the post-event survey, Gabby has dropped into the chat multiple times. It's very, very important that you fill this out. We do read every single person's response and we use that to improve. And Albert's already invited us to come back and we'd love to use your feedback in that next session. Gabby, do you want to highlight the promotion again?
Absolutely. Let me join you back on video again, now that I'm not frantically searching our chat for eligible LinkedIn participants. Yes, so we do have our 2 promotions happening right now. So we have our Albert's List promotion. So if you follow the link here, it'll take you directly and apply the $5 off for any of our advisors that offer their LinkedIn revisions. So you'll be able to kind of go through this in a more individualized one-on-one setting for 45 minutes, really get that exciting feedback and implement it together with your advisor. And then again, we do also have our giveaway on Instagram. So please follow this link here and tag a friend in the post. And while you're there, you can follow us too. It's not so bad. We post career advice. It's fun. We advertise events like this, feature our advisors and wonderful advice like what Asha has provided from our advisors. Keep in mind too, that feedback survey has all of these links there, the link to Asha's book, the link to the promotion, link to the giveaway, even the link to our old our session from December that highlights more of the transferable skill side. So make sure to take a look at that.
Awesome. And then Stephanie, do you have any wrap up points that you want to highlight before we maybe get to a little Q&A?
The only wrap up I have is, again, just thank you, Asha and Gabi, for a super informative and helpful webinar session. I just truly hope that whether you got your LinkedIn profile looked at or not, I hope that you all gained invaluable insights that you can implement into your LinkedIn profile today. I mean, literally today, if you haven't already. Also, I've left a lot of links in the chats. Let me see. I left Asha's booking link, a link to Asha's book on Amazon, as well as the Instagram giveaway and the survey, as well as the discount code Albert's List for ResMarket. So that's really all that I have to say. So let's move on to Q&A.
All right, so we have some pre-submitted questions that I'm happy to run through. Gabi, maybe you can help me by reading them out loud.
Absolutely. So we have this question here: how to transition to people management from IC with 6 to 7 years of experience.
So one of the reasons that I was harping on people's volunteer experience is because I'm sure if you're volunteering, you're probably doing people management responsibilities as a volunteer. And you can use that as a transferable skill to talk to your manager or a hiring manager who has a role that has people that requires people management expertise to demonstrate that you have the requisite skills. So that's why it's really important to not take for granted the things that you're doing outside of work, but to really think about them, to think about what you learned in those roles and how you can apply that to your current role or to a future role that you want, and how to talk about yourself and being capable to do it.
Awesome. For our next question, what are some of the steps to build your brand? For example, when you're working full-time, but looking to transition into consulting in the future and are currently doing small projects to build up a portfolio and audience. And I've definitely heard this one a lot before too, of you're kind of in this transitionary phase. And I think this touches upon the transferable skill side. Maybe you're not yet ready to announce to your employer that you're thinking about leaving, but you do want to still showcase that you are open and interested for any recruiters that might be looking at your profile.
That's right. I think that was great advice, Gabi. You know, you can start doing these consulting projects on the side, building your portfolio of clients, deciding what you like and don't like about consulting, because I think it's important too to recognize like where you want to draw the line on the work that you're doing for somebody else, because as a consultant, you can define that in the project scope and what you agree to do. So I think, you know, it's almost like experimentation. And so you can do that experimentation, realize what you want to do. And then when you're ready to make that cut over to doing it, you know, the consulting work full time, then you'll be ready to do that. So take advantage of the time that you have to experiment.
Asha, I've seen a question come up in the chat too around, and this kind of touches upon this as well, how you'd advise updating your LinkedIn when you don't want your current employer to know that you're looking elsewhere.
Okay, so maybe you're not, you know, updating your headline to say actively seeking if you're currently employed, but there are subtle ways. For example, in the about section, you can use language like I recommended, like I am interested in learning more about X, Y, and Z. No one's going to get mad at you for wanting to learn more. That's a good trait. That's a growth mindset, right? You can also use the open to work functionality, which is not visible to anyone at your company. Okay, but visible to people outside your company, that you're open to work and the roles that you're looking for, and that page that we pulled up earlier. So that's another way to show people that you're looking. The last one is there used to just be like an open to work icon that you could turn on in your profile. They may have replaced that with that ring around your photo, but LinkedIn does have ways for you to signal that you're looking for work and that you're open to recruiters reaching out without your employer knowing. Awesome. Let me just hop to the next slide.
Can we remove connections we no longer value?
Yes, so you definitely can. If you know, maybe you added everyone from elementary school to your LinkedIn profile, and then you actually realize like, why am I connected to people from elementary school in my LinkedIn profile? These people should be on Facebook. You can remove them. Or if you see someone, you know, they post a lot and the content is not interesting or relevant to you, you could mute them or you could remove them. It's totally fine. Like we talked about the brand changing over time, your network changes over time as well.
Absolutely. Then from Victoria, I have recently completed a bootcamp to pivot careers. I would like to update my LinkedIn, but I feel hesitant because the company I work for will see a boutique agency and I don't want them to question me. So I guess this is very similar to what we just chatted about.
Yeah, so it is exactly similar to what we talked about. So there are many places within LinkedIn to indicate that you're open to work without having your current company know. So we'll leave it at that. All right. So I know we're at time and I do want to have us wrap on time today. I want to thank everyone for joining. Really enjoyed meeting so many of you today and having you share your LinkedIn profiles with the group. I hope that people who didn't participate still took away from the learnings and will go and update your LinkedIn profile so it's stronger and that you'll find the role that makes you happy.
Thank you, Asha. Thank you, Albert's List. We're really happy that we were able to join here today. Again, please fill out the feedback survey. Let us know your thoughts. We could do another event like this too, get through more profiles if that's what you're interested in, but you got to let us know so that we're able to tailor it to you. So please do fill that out. If you're interested in more of a detailed session with Asha or any of our advisors, please also then make sure to check out resmarket.com. We're really appreciative of you taking your time here. We know it's late, it's after a work day, and it was a big chunk of time, but we appreciate you being here with us.
Awesome.
Wonderful. All right. Again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And thank you, Asha and Gabby, for parting us with their wisdom and information as well. And again, I really hope that all of you can implement whatever you learned today into your LinkedIn profile or your career journey today. And again, this is being streamed to Facebook Live. So if you want to rewatch it, you can definitely do that. And as they said, we are going to welcome them back in the future. And we have webinars nearly every week. So please join us for future webinars. So again, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I saw somebody in the chat say how they access the recording. So we'll send it out to all attendees. So you'll get a copy of it once it's posted to YouTube and then on the Albert's List Facebook page.
Yes, so definitely check our YouTube channel as well as the Albert's List Facebook page. All right. Cool. So with that, again, good night, everyone. Really hope that you learned some valuable insights here, and we will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.